Good afternoon and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. This afternoon, Celtic put out a statement. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers has been talking to the media this afternoon, and Celtic put out a statement to the Stock Exchange and then announced it on the website. Celtic Football Club can today announce that Mark Lawwell, head of first team scouting and recruitment, and also Joe Dudgeon, the first team lead scout, have resigned from their positions after leaving the club to pursue fresh challenges. Basically, because every player that they offered the manager at the last transfer window, I have talked about this briefly before, they offered Brendan Rodgers a number of players that were not good enough for Celtic. Mark was recruited by the former club manager Ange Postecoglou in May 2022. He held the position of scouting and recruitment within the City Football Group global structure. Joe joined from the City Football Group in November 2022. Mark and Joe are on a period of garden leave. They're doing a Walter Smith and Ali McCoist. Yep, they're doing a Walter Smith and Ali McCoist. Brendan Rodgers said, as part of the club's recruitment team, Mark and Joe worked tirelessly to bring success to Celtic. I would like to wish them both well for the future. Chief Executive Michael Nicholson said, everyone at Celtic thanks Mark and Joe for their contribution and dedication to the club, and we wish them both every success moving forward. Let's face it, the summer transfer window at Celtic was not good enough. The summer transfer window at Celtic was one where we brought in players that weren't good enough for the first team. When you think what happened to Gustav Lagerbielke, he was brought in by this recruitment team, and then Brendan Rodgers says, this guy's not good enough. He's not up to what we need at Celtic. And you could see why the club have, it says that they've left to pursue if they've left to pursue other careers, why are they on gardening leave? It's another bullshit statement from Celtic. If they were pursuing other careers, there would be no gardening leave, which means that they cannot be employed by anyone else until the summer, till the transfer window opens back up, until their contracts run out. So Celtic were obviously unwilling to pay off their contracts and give them a lump sum. So they have put them on gardening leave, and they're going to pay them till the summer. Tells you a lot that's going on. I have been saying that I reckon that there's a power struggle going on at Celtic Park, and it seems that Brendan Rodgers has won. Brendan Rodgers has won the power struggle that was going on in the background. And let's face it, the fact that he was offered as many players at the last transfer window that were all deemed not good enough. The only ones that were good enough was Adam Ida and Nicholas Kuhn. And Nico Kuhn is maybe not the player that we expect, but the fact that the recruitment team are saying put these guys on 5-year contracts, you'll make money out of them. Way. And it's not the case. It's certainly not the case. And the fact that they have now departed. They have departed. Another Celtic news. Celtic transfer development emerges involving West Brom and Southampton target. Celtic are ready to sell Liel Abada this summer. The winger was previously a target of West Brom and Southampton. I told you they would wait till the summer. Celtic are ready to sell Liel Abada for offers over the 3.5 million that they paid for the player. It is all in Celtic's court. He has just signed that new contract with Celtic. The 22-year-old winger who was signed from Maccabi back in the summer of 2021, he's basically went on and he did go on and win Young Player of the Year in Scotland when he first got here. Even hit double figures in the previous campaign, and he went one better with Celtic under the treble under Ange Postecoglou. However, this season has been difficult for the players, and he's basically down tools and said, I don't want to play for the club anymore. So Celtic aren't going to stand in their way. They're not going to make a song and dance about it. Celtic want to recoup the 3.5 million that they paid for Abada, and the results of the ongoing discussions between the board and Abada is basically down tools. It's as simple as that. The player's down tools, and it is in Celtic's court. He's now going to sit, and he's another one that's going to be on gardening leave until the end of the summer. It'll be interesting. I did say on the video the other evening, it would be interesting to see what happens if Celtic were to go on and be champions. Will Liel Abada come out onto the Celtic Park pitch to pick up his Champions Medal? his Champions Medal. And if we're going to get to the Scottish Cup final, he'll be nowhere near that. Even though he's remained at Celtic, Abada hasn't featured since his a poor display against Hibernian back on the February the 7th. He failed to make the matchday squad. Brendan Rodgers has admitted that the youngster wasn't in the right frame of mind. And I've spoke about this before. He said, look, if he knew that the Palestine thing was a thing for him, he just had to look at any videos. The Celtic fans waving Palestine flags for a lot of years. Now that Celtic are ready to listen to Abada offers in the summer, it puts it to bed. It basically puts it to bed. The Celtic are unlikely to stand in his way. They just want more than the £3.5 million that they paid for him. So you can see Abada going for £5 million easy. And if we get a bit of a bidding war, happy days, Celtic, and Tata Abada. Anyway, the big news of today is Mark Lawwell has resigned from Celtic, stepping down. It'll be interesting to see who Celtic get in, the type of recruitment team that we get in, because let's face it, the players that this recruitment team have been bringing into Celtic have been substandard and not what Brendan Rodgers is looking for. The fact that Brendan Rodgers was offered a multitude of players, around about 5 players, over and above the 2 that we signed in the last transfer window, and he said no to every single one of them. Said no to every single one. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Brendan Rodgers obviously had the press conference today, and he was talking about things, talking about a lot of things. Brendan Rodgers was talking about Rio Hatate and his comeback timeline. Rio Hatate has only managed to make 7 starts for Celtic this season. It's been a frustrating campaign for Rio Hatate. He is one of our better players when he's fully fit. But where does he fit into this team? Because let's face it, last season, the one and only Matt O'Reilly couldn't get into the Celtic team because of Rio Hatate. Could be that the tables have turned. Unfortunately, it's been injury after injury, and he was also injured again when he went away on international duty. And he told the media after he went to social media to say that he wasn't good enough to play at the international level. Celtic boss has now shared the comeback with the group. He's back in training, but in the middle of this month. But he might not see any action until early April. And if he doesn't see any action until early April, he will struggle to get back into the team. Because, like I said, you'll be lucky to see Lil Abad. You'll be lucky to see Lil Abad again, but you'll be lucky to see Rio Hatate. Rio Hatate might get some game time in the second halves of games, but who do you replace him with? Who do you take off in that team? Do you drop Matt O'Reilly, who's hitting a bit of form? Do you drop Callum McGregor, who's pushed further forward? Callum McGregor has a little niggle of an injury, and he might be a doubt for the weekend's game at Hearts. But when you see the young boy Kelly that came on, it'll be interesting to see if we go with the one and only Callum McGregor. It'll be interesting. Right, going on about Rio Hatate, hopefully it'll be before the international break in terms of him being back with the squad. He says he may not be available to play until after the international break, which is coming up this month. He's working really hard and we'll be happy when he is back. But I suggest that, and I mean, when he's fit and he's motivated, it makes the team tick. He's not been fit enough the whole season. He's not been at the levels that we've had in previous seasons. Hence the reason that the one and only David Turnbull was getting a game before him at the start of the season. Anyway, with the upcoming derby on the 7th of April, could that be his comeback game? Would that be his comeback game? Would Brendan Rodgers put him in from the start? I don't think so. You need to get him some game time before then. You definitely need to get him some game time. Can't just put him into a game of that enormity. And especially, I mean, I could see him coming on at the second half at Ibrox. I can definitely see him coming on at the second half and scoring a goal if we're not already 1 or 2-0 up. Because I reckon that will be the scoreline once we get to that game. It's 4 games away. But Rodgers says, look, the last match against Livingston looked to be the most likely candidate for Hatate's return, but the staff are happy the way that he's going. If he gets minutes, it could be that he's in the trip for Ibrox. He needs to get some game time before then, but it's not. You're not wanting to risk him. You're not wanting to risk him. Keep him for the one and only return match at Celtic Park, the one that will be the title decider, if you ask me. Unless, of course, the absolute nightmare happens when we visit Ibrox. But I can't see it. They haven't beaten us this season, and I don't think they will beat us. Tell me what you think about the one and only Lawwell resignation. The Rebels have won. And on that note, Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world.